RM Sotheby's is the world's largest collector car auction house by total sales. They are the preeminent market maker of high-quality collector cars and collections, regardless of size or complexity. By working in partnership with the Sotheby's team and its network of 80 offices in 40 countries, RM Sotheby's has established the largest client network of any collector car auction house in the world. Join the RM Sotheby's family by connecting with one of their car specialists at rmsotheby's.com or contact me directly at GStanley at rmsotheby's.com. LLC TLC is here to save you money on all of your vehicle purchases. LLC TLC will permanently register your classic cars in Montana to avoid any annual renewal fees. As your registered agent, they will handle everything for you so you never have to step foot in Montana. And as a listener of this podcast, LLC TLC is offering 30% off your entire package. Simply go to llctlc.com/classic or mention this podcast when you contact LLC TLC directly. All right, for this podcast episode, I'm taking some fun reading material I found in the AACA Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania a couple months ago. I just think it's so funny just to see how much, or the narrative as far as automobiles has changed so much, at least in the last 100 years. So this is going to be a fun and interesting one. I basically took books pre-1920-ish, 1925, and I found some interesting, I don't want to say articles, but paragraphs, some interesting writings from the period about early motoring I thought would be fun to share. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of cool pre-war brass era cars flow through on the screen there. But yeah, like always, I appreciate you listening, watching. Please subscribe via your favorite podcast provider or on YouTube. And now let's kick this off here. The hilarious narratives from the early days of motoring. So this first one is from a book called Keeping Up with Your Motor Car by A. Frederick Collins. Now on inside it says, written so that he who reads may care for the car owner to whom money is an object. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty funny. Now this is from 1917. All right, I'm just going to start with the first couple paragraphs here. A word to you. Everybody else rides, so why don't you? This is the age of power, wheels, and speed, and you ought to belong, for the riding is fine. The owner of a motor car means that you have increased the measure of your life tenfold, not by tacking on so many more years to those you have already lived, but by living that much faster while you do live. With a car, you can go everywhere and see everything, and this takes you out of the rut of an ordinary human being and puts you into the class of the Superman. Takes you on the great broad highway where you can see a never-ending panorama of the glories of nature and the handiwork of her puppets. And this is indeed living. Now, real quick, for that paragraph, it's very interesting. They said highways because they did not exist at the time that this was written. They also mentioned the Superman. Superman, the comic book character, was not even in existence at this point either. Again, there is your health. When you motor, you breathe in great lungs full of oxygen, that wonderful magnetic gas which, if it's not life itself, it is the great sustainer of life. And this helps to give you physical strength, to preserve your mental poise, and to increase your power so that when you get down to the routine of business again, you are a regular dynamo for work. These are the good things about owning a motor car. And now let's see what's the matter with it. Nice segue there. I like that. All right. So chapter 1 was how to buy a motor car. I do not know whether you are a Christian or a scientist or both of these X and Y quantities equate to 0, but I am firm in the belief that if you want a thing hard enough, it will be yours for the thinking. It is a trite saying that where there's a will, there's a way. But never before in the course of human events has it been so strikingly exemplified as in the case of a fellow who wants a motor car and of his ability to find the means to get one. Now, the dominant idea. So let's suppose that you have a burning desire to own a car and enjoy life like your neighbors, or to use one in your business like your competitors. Now, when this craving has seared into your soul deep enough, it develops into a mental abnormality, which psychologists call the dominant idea. That is, your every waking thought will automatically influence, control, and direct your mental activities to the end that your wish may be fulfilled. And the net result of it all is that you will finally own a car. As a reminder, this is back when a lot of folks did not have cars. All right, a little blurb here. Ways to buy a car. Now, there are several ways to buy a car. I say buy because it is the only scheme I know of to get one, for it's a thing you can't borrow. Though you can borrow the money with which to buy one, it is quite unlawful to steal one, and I have yet to hear of the lady or gent who accumulated enough green trading stamps to swap for one. You probably know as well that as I do, that if you have any amount of money from $345 on up with the sky as the limit, you can go out and be separated from it in an hour's time and bring the thing of beauty and joy until something goes wrong with it home with you. This is the easy, don't give a care way. But if you haven't the immediate wherewithal, two methods are still open for you to buy a car just the same. And these are: one, to mortgage your bungalow, and two, to buy it on time payments. The latter plan being the same in principle as that on which Estonia clocks and Smyrna rugs are sold by peripatetic agents. Peripatetic, that is what it says, agents. As to the mortgaging of the old homestead to buy a car, well, that's a tremendous proposition which you and the wife will have to decide. But when it comes to the time payment plan, that is entirely different matter, and more will be said about it anon. All right, interesting. I did want to talk about, they kind of go over a little bit of the kind of cars available at the time, which I thought was interesting. I'll throw up the picture from the book here on YouTube. Figure 1 is a Ford Runabout, the cheapest car made. The price was $325. It held 2 passengers, 4 cylinders, and only 20 horsepower. Figure 2 is the Chalmers touring car, a fine example of a low-price car that's priced almost triple of what the last one was, $1,050, 5 passengers, 6 cylinders, and 30 horsepower. Figure 3 was a Pierce Aero limousine, as good a car as need be built. Price $5,200, 5 passengers, 6 cylinder, a whopping 38 horsepower. And the last one is an FRP Brougham, a car fit for a king and his queen. Price $9,000, 5 passengers, 6 cylinder, and only 52 horsepower. Wow, pretty amazing. Now, this is how they defined car bodies back in the day. A roadster was an open car seating 2 or 3. It may have additional seats on running boards or in rear deck. A couplet seats 2 or 3. It has a folding top and full height doors with disappearing panels of glass. A coupe, an inside operated enclosed car seating 2 or 3. A 4th seat facing backwards is sometimes added. A convertible coupe, a roadster provided with a detached coupe top. A cloverleaf, an open car seating 3 or 4. The rear seat is closed to the divided front seat, and entrance is only through the doors in the front of the front seat. A touring car, an open car seating 4 or more with direct entrance to tonneau. A saloon touring car, a touring car with passage between front seats with or without separate entrance to front seats. A convertible touring car, a touring car with folding and disappearing or removable glass sides. And a sedan, a closed car seating 4 or more, all in one compartment. But wait, there's more. A convertible sedan, a salon touring car provided with a detachable sedan top. An open sedan, a sedan so constructed that the sides can be removed or stowed so as to leave the space entirely clear from the glass front to the back. A limousine, a closed car seating 3 to 5 inside with driver's seat outside covered with a roof. An open limousine, a touring car with permanent standing top and disappearing or removable glass sides. A berline, a limousine having the driver's seat entirely enclosed. A brougham, a limousine with no roof over the driver's seat. Oh, I didn't know that's what you call them. A landaulet, a closed car with folding top, seats for 3 or more inside, and a driver's seat outside. Now, this is a couple funny things about dealing with a dealer, but there's a reason, and I hold it a mighty good one. When you buy a car of a dealer for cash, the moment he has your money and you have his car, he loses interest in both you and the car. Should anything go wrong and you ask him to make it good, he will, to all outward appearances, be interested, but at heart, it is a very negative interest. And the result is that you are more than apt to get poor service and little or no satisfaction. Now, you may say it isn't fair and it isn't business for a man to act that way. And while your premises in both cases are true, still it is simply unadulterated human nature, and you can't change it. No, not even if you cut away that part of his thick ivory which presses against the convolutes of his gray matter wherein resides his Christian training. Wow, that's interesting. All right, now I just have a few fun, interesting things from Floyd Clymer's Historic Motor Scrapbook. He had quite a series of these for quite a while. These are pretty interesting. There's like poems. These are advertisements that include a poem. There's a couple different ones here, including the acronym for gasoline that someone made into a poem. Now, this first one is a car called the Sears, the businessman's car. Now, it has 9 models from $325 to $475, sold on 10 days trial. Now, this was provided by Sears, Roebuck and Company, so you could buy a car from Sears back in the day. Here is their little poem. Who has not yet made his pile and cannot afford to be charged with extravagance by his business associates, whose business would grow faster if he could get through with more work in the same number of hours, who needs the restful diversion of sane outdoor exercise to increase his capacity for work, who has tired of home life in a congested neighborhood and yearns for a cottage in the suburbs for his family. Doesn't exactly rhyme, but we'll go with it. Now, here's a funny ad for Franklin Motor Cars. The car you want is not the car with the most horsepower or with this frill or that, but the car that does the most at the least expense. The car you don't want is the complicated, heavy car that wears out tires fast, uses gasoline extravagantly, costs a lot for repairs, and is clumsy beside. The Franklin 12 horsepower light tonneau goes faster and better and smoother on all roads than most cars of 18 and 20 horsepower. It costs less to buy and less to maintain. Water-cooled cars get their power by means of heavy motors and complicated parts. The Franklin gets its power by masterly engineering and its light 4-cylinder air-cooled motor. Oh, interesting. It costs $1,650, not $2,000, but even at $2,000, it would be cheaper than the others. What does your horsepower cost? What does it do? While you are thinking this over, look up the Franklin and some Franklin owners. Now, this is an interesting one. For 1930, now this is about Plymouth, $655. Pride stirring car, dependable, sturdy, and smart. Women who drive their own automobiles have discovered quickly and to their infinite satisfaction that the improved Plymouth is a very different and superior low-priced car. Keen judges of smartness, they approve Plymouth's fleet and graceful lines, the distinction of its finish and appointments. It delights them to find that Plymouth is such a roomy car, that it handles so easily and holds the road so surely, that its 4-wheel hydraulic brakes operate so powerfully and smoothly in all weathers. Women especially appreciate, too, the unfailing reliability of Plymouth, its immunity to squeaks and rattles, its freedom from frequent attention and adjustments, its sparse use of gasoline and oil, its ability to spend more time on the road and less in the service station. More and more, everywhere, women are deciding that the improved Plymouth approximate in style, comfort, and quality the most important characteristics of high-priced cars. You know, it's funny. I thought I would find a lot more sexist comments than I did. They were very respectful, much more respectful than I thought they would have been back in the day, especially as it relates to women buyers. All right, the next one up is an interesting one called the Aermore exhaust horn. This thing is quite a device. 1913 here. Warn the pedestrian, but don't terrify him. Mr. Motorist, it's up to you to give persons on foot a courteous, friendly warning, a dangerous signal that will not rob them of their presence of mind. Many a tragic auto accident is due to the inefficient honk honk or the terrifying squawk signal that alarms and unnerves pedestrians and makes them run into danger instead of away from it. There is just one, sure, courteous way to signal your coming, one warning that is distinct and musical, that cheers and does not frighten, that never fails at the crucial moment. The Aermore exhaust horn. A 12-inch horn is $11. 10 inches is $10. 8 inches for motorcycles is $7.50. Out of Chicago, Illinois, I really wish I could hear one right now. All right, the next one I did want to highlight. I thought this was hilarious. There is a gasoline acronym that they did in this trade journal, which has a cartoon and all sorts of stuff. Pretty funny. It doesn't really rhyme. I don't think, well, actually, no, it does a little bit. So here we go. G is for go. Just keep going. Never stopping for a rest. A is for all the day I keep on dodging. Bill collectors with a zest. S, summer clothes we wore all winter. Now 'tis spring and they're nearly through. O, once I paid my life insurance. Now it's more than I can do. L, little ones are nearly barefoot. Pantry shelves are empty now. I have chopped wood most all winter. Before this year I knew not how. N, never before in my existence has the tank on my machine. E, ever starved and froze the family, keeping her filled with gasoline. Okay, that did rhyme. I'm bad. The next advertising I thought was pretty funny is from Cole Motorcar Company. I don't see, 1924. And the question is have you ever gone ballooning in a Cole? There's no adequate way of describing a ride on balloon tires, particularly in a Cole. It is even a greater surprise than the first time you ever walked on rubber heels. You literally ride in a relaxed, undulating freedom that is more like the surfaceless slide of a coaster sled or the gliding of a motorboat through smooth water when the engine is shut off. You take a particular delight in hunting out some bad-looking spots in the road in an effort to try and make yourself feel the bump, but nothing happens. The big air cushion of the balloon tire absorbs the shock. What you see on the road is apparently not there when you ride over it. But there is more to ballooning in a Cole than just riding comfort. It means uncomplaining car service at far less maintenance costs than on ordinary tires. Balloon-equipped Coles have an almost uncanny way of reeling off mile after mile of sumptuous, economical, luxurious motoring at, we believe, the lowest operating expense of any car of the Cole type. It is a notable fact that when universal acceptance of balloon tires became inevitable, Cole alone was ready, engineeringly, for their adoption. Cole was not only the first to adopt balloon tires, but to engineer for them. Our representatives are ready to give you this great new experience of ballooning in a Cole. Well, how about that? All right, we're coming to the end here. This is for 1907 Haynes motor cars. For a long tour in foreign lands along the Riviera or the Valley of the Rhine or through the far west, your car must be one you can trust. Examination is not shortly enough. You can't see the quality of steel. Practical tests are not severe enough. The only test you can rely on is the reputation of the makers and the car. Here are two significant facts. The makers of the Haynes automobile built the first American gasoline car, erected the first American automobile factory, and have been making Haynes cars for 13 years. A regular stock model won its place on the American team in the Vanderbilt Cup race against special cars of double its power, and in the Cup race itself. Its perfect regularity and wonderful endurance were the feature of the day. No harder test of a car has been given. It proved beyond question the Haynes quality and reliability. For long or short tours, abroad or at home, the Haynes is the car you can trust. Remember, when you buy a Haynes, you buy America's best. Now, this was built in Kokomo, Indiana. Who knows how much longer they stayed in business. It sounds like that's an awesome car, but obviously they did not survive that long. All right, let's go to another defunct brand and hear a poem from them. Now, this is the Jordan Playboy 1922. I've actually seen one of these in person, a speedster. They only made two of the speedsters. And this is out of Cleveland, Ohio. A spirited companion on a wonderful girl and a wonderful boy. A spirited companion for a wonderful girl and a wonderful boy. It's a shame to call it a roadster. Soulful is its brawny, graceful thing of the vigor of boyhood and morning. It carries two passengers with a cockpit, swanky seat behind. It revels along with the wandering wind and soars like a Caproni biplane. It's a car for a man's man, that's certain, or for a girl who loves the out of doors. It's true. There's some of the tang of that rare old English ale that was brewed from the smiles of youth and of old boxing gloves. How did we happen to think of it? Why, a girl who can swim and paddle and shoot described it to a boy who loves the roar of the cutout. We built one and slipped it away from the quiet zone and stepped on it. And the dogs barked. And the boys stopped to cheer. And people we passed stopped and looked back. And we were boys again. The Playboy will be built in limited numbers, frankly, because we love to do it. I am so confused right now. That is the weirdest poem. What were they selling? Was it a car? I mean, it's called the Playboy. I guess the boy that likes to play. Very confusing on that one. All right, I got another fun one here. Now, this is the Saxon, a good low-price car. I see a lot of the trends here are cheap price, but still it's a good car. This one's priced at $395 from 1914. Everybody ought to own a car. Now everybody can own a car. A good car is an economy, not a luxury. It means savings to the businessman, ease in getting about, promptness in making appointments. It means health for himself, his wife, and his children, health and outdoor recreation. It increases efficiency. Everybody ought to own a car. Now everybody can own a car, a good car. For the Saxon is a high-grade, well-designed, carefully built automobile with 4-cylinder motor, left-hand drive, center control, and standard features throughout, produced by an experienced organization, sound financially, and in business to stay. Now, as a reminder, they went out of business. I don't know when or where, but when's the last time you've heard of a Saxon or even seen one at a car show? Crazy. Now, this is funny. I have a mail-in coupon offer for the Saxon. Mail-in coupon for free demonstration. Prove the Saxon by writing in it. Sign your name on the coupon and mail it in now. We will direct you to the Saxon dealer in your locality and send you free a booklet telling the story of this great achievement in the science of motor car development. Also, author Brisbane's editorial on automobiling. Accepting our demonstration offer obliges you in no way, costs nothing. If you wish in the booklet without demonstration, indicate it on the coupon. But find out more about the Saxon now. Now, they were based in Detroit, Michigan. How about that? All right, well, that's it for a little look back into the history of motoring. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please subscribe if you're new to this YouTube channel. And if you would like to be on my email newsletter, please shoot me a note, greg@thecollectedcarpodcast.com. As always, I will talk to all of you next Thursday.